Welcome back to another episode. So, you can see we just backed the loboy shop. If you watched the last video, then you know we got the Kubota over here running. And now, this video we gotta find out if that engine turns the right direction to power this. So we gotta take off this panel. I'm gonna set the battery back in it. Turn this over, see which direction it's turning. If it's turning the right way, then maybe we'll start tearing this thing down. So that's exciting. I really want to have a diesel in this thing. It would make it a lot more handy. With it being a gas, yes, it's nice, it's factory. Not getting rid of the engine. The engine is gonna go into storage, maybe. Well, we will rebuild it eventually. I think that'll happen right now. But I'm not getting rid of the engine. It's not getting thrown away. We are gonna rebuild it. But right now, it's just gonna go in storage, and we're gonna put a little 3-cylinder in there. Hopefully, it's enough power for it. A block is about the same length. Well, maybe. Well, I said a little longer than that one, but they're close. And hopefully, with the diesel torque, it'll be enough torque for this. Enough power. That's around, I think, around 15 horsepower. That's about what this is. So, it should work. So, yeah. So, let's start tearing the, we'll probably just take the hood off. Take the side panel off right there. Figure out which direction this is turning. And then we'll go over to the Kubota. And make sure that's turning the right way. If that's turning the right way, that'll make this a lot easier, because if it's not turning the right way, then we'll have to turn the engine on. Then we run into more issues. So, I'm hoping the way it is, it'll fit in. We won't have to cut anything, because I really do not want to cut this frame or anything with this thing. I want to put it back together so it looks original, just different power plant. And this is another reason it's getting a diesel, because I need to get a carburetor for it. This carburetor is shot, but it's kind of boring with a gas engine in it. We gotta have something that, sounds good. So, I'll take this thing. And this thing sat out for a long time. It kind of got kicked out of the barn where it was being parked. So, yeah, that's exciting. Alright, let's start tearing it down. You can see right here is Bluetooth, but must not be a very good connection, because that ain't normal. And another thing I want to point out is we are going to be using the factory fuel tank. The only thing that we'll have to do is put a return in it, and the return will probably go right up in here in the bottom of the tank, because you can't put the return on the top of the tank. It has to be under the fuel, underneath. So put it on the bottom. That was one thing I figured out when I was trying to start that, is it was getting air. And I had to put the return line in the fuel. So, and that made a big difference. But I just want to show you that it is in fact burning oil. Yeah, perfect. So that is why, that's the main reason why we're taking this engine out and putting it in storage for now. I don't want to ruin the engine. I don't want to be burning oil because, well, as you can see, it's burning a lot of that. So that's the main reason we're taking this engine out. And this here dash, I'm going to be putting holes in it, but I don't feel bad. Oh. Okay, and this is one of the reasons I don't feel bad. That's just the aluminum. So maybe we can get one of these, but I'd rather put holes in this one than a new one. So we'll probably be putting another gauge maybe right in here. And maybe we can keep this, maybe not for oil, but maybe use this as maybe a glow plug light. So I want to use what we have here as much as possible. The throttle, use that. Amp gauge, we'll use that. And we'll have to put either RPM gauge probably here. Not RPM, but temp gauge, because we want to know what temp we're running at. That would be nice with this engine, but with this Kubota, I want to know what temp we're running. Anyhow, back to what we were doing. I'm gonna grab the battery, throw in, we'll turn it over, see which direction this is turning. Hopefully it's turning the same direction as that engine back there. If it is, well, then we'll continue the tear down. And the tank has been empty, so that's why I pushed it over here. Tank is empty, and with us we're gonna have to weld on the tank. I'm not putting any more fuel in it. You know what? Speaking of that, I'm gonna take the lid off. The little bit of good that is doing. Wonder how much water it got in there. Huh. Don't seem to get any water in there, so that's good. Anyhow, okay, let's just throw a battery in here. All right, here we go. All right, engine is turning this direction over. So let's take the battery back over there and make sure that's turning right. All right, got her hooked up. Just grabbing my key here. Let's see which direction the flywheel back here is turning. Maybe. Okay. It is turning the right direction. Perfect. That's great. That's great news. Alright. That makes me feel a little better now that is in fact turning in the right direction. Just with that little bit of turning, it was puffing smoke out. Not that it's going to start, because these are just like the 7-tree IDIs. They're really cold-blooded. They are. If you don't have working glow plugs, forget about starting them. Unless you have a heat gun. That's what we're using in this. But heck, that's not even enough. We have to use what I really hate using. Starting fluid. So, yeah. We're not going to try and start that because I'm not using any more starting fluid than we have to. This stuff is really bad on engines. Stuff raises compression, causes more of an explosion, more like in gas engines, and it is not good for your engine because that's how you blow head gaskets out and bend push rods and stuff like that. Or not push rods, but connecting rods and stuff like that. So, don't use starting fluid unless you absolutely have to. It's really bad for your engine. But, anyhow, let's, I guess, continue tearing this down. I don't want to get too much ahead of myself because I'm not sure when we're going to be starting to put that in. But I want to at least start with this because I'm really anxious to get that engine in here now. I told my dad yesterday, that engine is really addicting. I mean, it's pretty addicting. Just hearing it there running, I want to hear it running all the time now. It's just a diesel engine for you. Any diesel engine is addicting. My brother actually wants me to put a Detroit in this. That ain't happening. I want this thing to be usable. Not freaking need earmuffs every time. I mean, you still should have earmuffs on, but I don't want to be wearing earmuffs every time I'm running the thing. So, stay back up on the tripod, and let's continue tearing this down. Well, she looks different now. Got the radiator emptied, sitting over there. I actually caught most of it. But you know, around here, anytime we're messing with liquid, oil, antifreeze, anything, we make a mess. So, I successfully made a mess. So that's perfect. So far so good. Everything's coming loose. I didn't break any bolts. Thought for sure those there would break, but they didn't, thankfully. Got to unhook the fuel line, gas line, and then we're going to be dealing with the oil. So, I'm going to successfully make a mess with oil, get that all over everything, so then we're working in oil, and then we'll go from there. Perfect. So, I'll unhook our choke cable here. This is quick detach and quick attach. Sometimes. This is just one of our deals where we'll just kind of, do that. So that's great. I'm going to leave all this on. Muffler, everything, carburetor, everything. We're just going to unhook basically everything from the engine to here. Oil line. That's where we're going to get the oil everywhere. So, let's go underneath here. Try to without. Well, here we are. Yeah, perfect. There ain't nowhere to drain. So, that's gonna be one issue that we will run into later when we put the Kubota in it. Is we're gonna need hydraulic pump. It's gonna be one issue, and this is gonna be another thing. But that runs off the flywheel, and thankfully, let me show you over here. On this engine, it already has a flywheel, it has a flywheel, but it has a pulley. So that's good. hopefully we can tap into that. So far so good. Like I said, we're gonna continue to unhook here. I'm doing it off camera because that'll make for a really long video. I don't want to bore you guys with unhooking things. So I'll go ahead, do it off camera, and I'll update you when I get some of the stuff unhooked. Alright, got everything unhooked. There wasn't much oil that came out of there. I'm sure there'll be some when I go to lift the engine out. But we got the drive shaft unhooked. Belts are unhooked. You can see fuel tank and stuff is sitting over here. We'll have to give this some attention. It ain't too great there, but not a big deal. Had to give the front mount bolts some heat because they were really tight. Gave them some heat, they turned right off. Now we gotta figure out how to hook the strap here, and we'll come in with the skid steer and see if it'll lift out. See what all breaks. I hope nothing. But I think the engine did settle down a little. Choke lever's hitting. So push that up. Might have actually got bent a little bit. But alright, I'm gonna figure out how to get the strap hooked up, and I'll come back when we're getting ready to lift the engine out. Alright, engine is out. Boy, looks different. So right here is how the drive shaft attaches. There's a provision to put a starter in it. You have to put a starter flywheel on it. But yeah, here we are. Yeah, little engine. Now we're gonna put a littler one in. Now we gotta see what we gotta do with this one. Hoping that we can use the mounts that are here, but I'm not sure how that's gonna go. This might get interesting. Alright. Well, I guess I'll figure out how to bring that engine over here. Kinda set it here roughly to see what we're working with. Finally got the engine close. So I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna run into here. May have to, well, I'm not sure. I know this here belt, I know that ain't gonna work too great. I'll put it back on. I gotta get that thing cleaned off. We'll throw it down there. I gotta have these things out of the way. Everything is coated in oil. That's great. But yeah, it looks like that little engine will fit in there decent. And it leaked down a little. Perfect. Gotta do the best we can to bolt this engine in on the factory mounts. We're gonna see what we can do with that. But like I said, I don't wanna destroy it. So alright, that's gonna be it for this episode. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. We'll see you next time. Peace out.